Rhythm's okay in Harlem, 'cause what it takes they've got. Rhythm's okay.
The story of soul music begins in America in the 1930s. The country was racially segregated and deeply divided, and blacks lived as second-class citizens. The North and South were almost separate nations, and more than 1,000 miles away from the sophisticated sounds of Harlem, the South had changed very little since the abolition of slavery. It was here, in Albany, Georgia, that Ray Charles Robinson was born, on September 23rd, 1930. At just 5 years old, he began to lose his sight. By the age of 7, Ray Charles was completely blind. As a blind child from a poor background, he was sent to Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, St. Augustine's. Blind black children had limited opportunities, but Ray Charles was bright and determined to make something of himself.
Ray Charles could type 75 words a minute when he was 9 years old, on a regular typewriter.
But there was a more enjoyable distraction for Ray Charles at school. An old beaten-up piano.
It was so impressive to me, especially just to mash a key and hear a sound. Wow! You know, it stopped me from playing out in the yard. I don't care what I was doing. When I heard that, that was it for me.
With characteristic single-mindedness, Ray set about teaching himself to play.
He learned to read music by Braille, which, when you think of it, is very difficult. To learn a piano part, he would read the Braille part for the right hand with his left hand and play it. Then he would learn the left hand by reading the Braille with his right hand and play it, and then put them together. But that way he learned the Moonlight Sonata and pieces by Bach and Chopin.
Ray's blindness led him to a world dominated by sound, and he was drawn to the radio, which represented an escape from the mundane routine of life in the school. Ray and his friend Joe Walker imagined life on the air.
Well, my whole thing was I told Ray, I said, Ray, I'm going to be a radio announcer, and I'm going to play your music. I'm going to be the one to introduce you. CBS Radio presents the music of Ray Charles, his piano and his orchestra. Direct from Frank Gailey's Meadowbrook, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ray Charles. He said, you really going to do it, man? I said, you're right.
Hey, everybody!
It would be more than 20 years before the childhood dreams of Ray Charles could become a reality. Before that could happen, Ray Charles would need to master a whole range of musical skills. One man, more than any other, inspired the young Ray. His name was Louis Jordan.
Don't sit there mumbling, talking trash. If you want to have a ball, you gotta go out and spend some cash and let the good times roll.
Louis Jordan was a charismatic young sax player from Arkansas, whose band, the Timpani Five, took over the black radio of the 1940s. He would be one of Ray Charles's greatest influences.
Let the good times roll, I like that. I was a real fan of Louis Jordan, that's all I can tell you.
But I love to see her smile, 'cause she's my honey child.
Everything blended, everything matched. I can really understand what people mean when they talk about a painting, how all the colors just all sort of come together like they're supposed to, you know. Well, the same thing is true in sound, too, and I was crazy about his music.
More than just a virtuoso musician, Louis Jordan was an out-and-out entertainer.
But Louis, honey, I don't ever want to look at anyone but you.
Charles, don't you? What makes your big head so hard?
Louis Jordan could do everything. He could play, he wrote the music, he danced, he made movies, he did the score. He did everything. He had a lot of songs, but Cal Jordan, They would start off with the bass playing, doom, 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 and you go down about 4 times, and the horns come in, da 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 da, da 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 da, man.
In 1945, Louis Jordan released Caledonia. It would be one of his biggest hits and led the way for an entire generation of musicians. This was a brand new kind of music.
Walking with my baby, she got great big feet. She's long, lean, and lank, and ain't had nothing to eat. But she's my baby, and I love her just the same. Crazy about that woman, 'cause Caledonia is her name. Caledonia! Caledonia! What make your big head so hard? Mouth!
Some of the real good stuff that Louis Jordan did was when it was just, he had himself playing alto and a guy playing trumpet in a rhythm section. And man, I mean, they were just unique.
This wasn't jazz, and it wasn't blues. It was a powerful combination and something entirely fresh. It would later become known as rhythm and blues.
The rhythm section and the beat and the pulse that they create is the most important thing that changed it all around.
Well, it's a sweet gal he's singing about. Louis does up the package in a bright red bow, especially when it's all for the love of Liv.
He had kind of what you would call before him a jump band. Jump meant that you kind of like...
It swang like crazy. With people who like to dance, lyrics do not inspire them to dance. It's the rhythm inspires them to dance. And all those songs had ants in their pants, and you need to dance.
His music says, hey, everybody, let's have fun. What's happening? Come on, dance with me, talk to me. I'm going to seduce you. I'm going to flirt with you. I'm going to fool around with you. I'm going to shake my butt at you.
See, the most important thing is to be able to get where you want to be and stay there and intensify the heat. See, in music, losing the groove is like a guy having sex with a woman and his Johnson keeps falling out. You know, when a band gets to that thing, see, if they slip out, it's actually that bad. You know, yeah, they can go back in, but it's not the same thing.
Louis Jordan left the mournful sound of the blues for dead. This was feel-good music, dance tunes for black America.
And that black man or black woman can come and work all the week and get paid off 12 o'clock on Saturday and have more fun in one day than the boss did in a year.
Growing up in the 1940s, Ray Charles was exposed to a wide range of musical influences, from Louis Jordan to Nat King Cole. And by the age of 15, he was able to play piano in the style of all the big stars of the day.
Oh, he was a great pianist when he left. Ray could play any song anybody else wanted to play. He had started to develop a taste for all kinds of music. Anything Ray Charles set his mind to do, he would do it. Hell, if anybody could come back alive, it's Ray Charles.
In 1945, Ray Charles left the security of the Deaf and Blind School behind and decided to try and make a living as a professional musician.
Went to see my sweetheart last night around about 10. She said, hold.
Hitting the road, by the age of 16, he was already a working pianist on the black dance circuit.
He would have been learning how to work the crowd, how to set tempos, how to build a climax, how to get them screaming, then how to calm them down after you got them screaming. All showbiz, not tricks exactly, but the tools of the trade of being a